F1.
Let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's coach learning session. This week we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to step away from using tools. We're going to step away from looking at ways in which we can structure our business and move more to thinking about environment and the role that we play within the coaching industry, how we can look at our climate action plan and what is eco coaching and how we can adopt a little bit of this into our practice. Now, if you're thinking straight away that what has climate change and eco coaching got to do with anything that I do, then this is the perfect session for you to sit back, listen, and learn so you can start to become conscious on your actions, on how you can make a difference during this time of serious climate change issues. So let's take a look at what we're going to be covering into today's session. So we're going to be looking at doing our part for our world. It's our responsibility to step up and do the best that we can to take care of our environment. And it's not just about what we can do in our day-to-day. That's very important too. I know we hear a lot about this. We get educated quite well. There's lots of good campaigns out there we can get involved with. But we're talking about how we can do specific things within our coaching business that's going to help with the environment and start to really be more eco-friendly as a profession. There's over hundreds of thousands of coaches out there right now. And whilst we're not big, huge organizations that is responsible for a lot of production or things like that, we still have a responsibility and we can still collectively together do a lot for our environment so we can reduce our carbon footprint as an industry, but also become more conscious and start to help and educate and create awareness with everybody that we interact. Because the other thing we need to note is as coaches, we coach and interact with people from all walks of life with different careers, different educational backgrounds, different cultures. And if we can introduce a little bit of eco-coaching into our coaching, we can help make a bigger impact on tackling climate change. So climate change issues, we're going to take a look at a few of the issues that we have today. I'm just going to go over briefly. This is not going to be a very heavy specific on giving you education awareness on climate change issues, but it is about how we can reduce our carbon footprint and become more eco-friendly within our coaching practice. Then we're going to look at the actions we can take, both some quick actions that we can do in our day-to-day lives and overall just to be a better human being, but specifically what we can do within our coaching practice to really become more eco-friendly. And then we're going to look at the concept of eco-coaching. So I'm going to briefly explain to you what eco-coaching is, how you can implement this or opportunities for you to get involved and to learn more about eco-coaching. Okay, so what climate change issues do we face today? I'm sure you know all of these and you've seen these before. So we have global warming, the increase in temperature across the globe, which is causing the ice caps to melt and rising sea levels, lots of issues associated with global warming. It's also leading to extreme weather conditions. You know, we've had a lot of forest fires around the world. We've had Europe this year was in the highest summer that it's seen in centuries, lots of fires around Europe. So there's an increase in heat here around the world, lots of rain and flooding, things like that. So extreme weather conditions. I've also mentioned rising sea levels, causing threats to certain areas, certain countries, certain habitats. Ocean acidification as well. So the rise in the CO2, the rise in greenhouse gases is also causing acidification in the ocean, which again will affect the ecosystems and will affect the way in which our environment operates. And it also leads to biodiversity loss, so a loss and threat to animals and plants and other natural things in the world. So there's some of the issues. I'm sure you're aware of these. The focus isn't to go deep and to educate you on these today. The focus is to look at what we can do to help tackle these big world problems and start to think that just because we might have a small coaching practice, we have 20 clients, 30 clients, might only have 5 clients, you know, we might not operate, might not do a lot, but there's still things that we can do to make a difference. And that's what we want to focus on today, because every little step, every little action helps tackle these problems. So what can we do as just a general good human being, as an individual? What we can do is look at our energy conservation, consume less energy, look at using less petrol. A lot of people are going on to electric cars, looking at using our car less as well. I talk a little bit about that in terms of transportation. Remembering to switch up things like light switches, just looking after our general energy conservation. Waste reduction, reduce the amount of waste that we produce. Also look at ways in which we can recycle. Again, stuff that we all know, but need a little bit of recap on maybe. Transportations, try to use less, carpool, car share. Try and organize that in your workplace, in your organization. Try and use the car less. If you can walk. If you can take public transport, maybe take a day or two taking public transport. Try and just reduce the amount of use in your car so you can get around and help really with that environment. Conscious water consumption, there is a lot of risks towards water. In the east of England, there's a high risk of drought. In certain areas, there's a risk of flooding. In certain countries, there's also a higher risk of drought as well. So just being conscious of how we use the water, not to leave the tap on when we're brushing our teeth. Look at equipment that we can get installed so we can time our showers and things like that, and we're not wasting too much water when we are in the shower. Just little bits and bobs that can help with that. And also tree planting and green spaces. Get involved in promoting green spaces, the use of green spaces. Plant trees if you can. Get involved in a program that plants trees so you can help with and conserve the environment. So that's just something encourage other people to do, and as coaches we can motivate other people to do when we're going about our business. So what can we do in our business? What business specific activities can we do to help our environment? Well, the first one I've got on there is minimize printing. Every business, we live in a digital era now. There is no excuses for us to print and print and print and print. And I still see coaches, I still engage with coaches. I've had networking events where people have brought piles of paper, whether it's worksheets and handouts and all this sort of stuff. You don't need to print so much anymore. You really need to print very little in your coaching practice. So minimize the amount of printing you use. And also what you can do here is minimize the amount of journal and papers and things you use. And you can get yourself a tablet. I know it can be quite expensive. Use an old tablet or get yourself an e-writing pad as well. You can get e-writing pads quite cheap. I use a very old tablet here with a stylus just to take my notes, and you can use and save these notes on a great app called Evernote. So if you haven't heard of Evernote, check that out. It's free. You can get a paid version with extra features as well, but just keep your notes electronically. If you like to write with a pen and pencil, like I said, get an e-pad or use an old iPad, or you can just type them up and keep it all there as well. Minimize the use of paper journals and printing. Next thing, e-contracting. A lot of our coaches still want to print the paper, sign it, send it back on. You can use things like DocuSign. We use a thing called PDF Filler right now, which is absolutely fantastic. It's a way you can send contracts electronically. They can sign electronically, again, using a stylus. They can upload their signature and send it back. It doesn't need printing. You don't need to post anything. So when you have your contracts with your coaches and you have bilateral contracts in place, that's a contract where one party signs and the other party and you sign as well. So you and your clients are both signing the same document. Then look at e-contracting software that's going to help you and reduces significant amount of printing that doesn't need to be done in our industry. The next thing is editable PDFs. Now, a lot of coaches host webinars, masterclasses, and they like to give things out. Now, when you do that, when you have worksheets, when you have things that people can engage in, it's generally there's a space and people can print it off and they can write on it and capture the thoughts and keep it in a nice file. Make your PDFs editable. Now, you can do this on Adobe Reader. Again, you can do it as well, but find a software that allows you to put in a little box and make it editable. So when people are engaged in your programs, and then what you can do is have it editable. We have over 80 lessons on our certification program, our credit certification program with the EMCC. We have over 80 worksheets, over 100 coaching tools, and each one of them is editable online. So our coaches don't need to print them off. Our coaches don't need to print them off with a client. You can type in the notes in there and keep everything digital, so it reduces again the amount of printing. So this is what we do here at Coaching Minds. Digital activities. So that leads us on nicely to digital activities. One of the things that we've just published a short video on, and that we're encouraging our coaches, and especially coaches that are into manifestation, law of attraction, it's always good, and we see this every year at the start of the year, to design and print and cut lots of paper to create vision boards. Now, we want to encourage our coaches and anybody who gets involved in this to do digital vision boards. So you can get a software that's free called Canva. There's other editing and design softwares out there too, that you can design things online, crop and cut things, so you can make a nice digital vision board. Then you can save it at the size of a screensaver for your phone, or you can save it at the size of a laptop, desktop screensaver, so you can see it every day when you're on your laptop. And the reason why this might be a little bit better in this era, this digital era as well, is that we actually spend more time on our phones and our laptop than we do, wherever else we normally put our vision board. A good place that we advise people is to have it in the bedroom, so it's the first thing they see when they wake up. But think about now, what's the first thing you grab when you wake up? So you're going to see it nicely on your phone and be reminded of your goals and visions for that year. So think about digital activities. That's one thing we're doing. We've got some other events in the pipeline that we're thinking about doing, that sometimes people want to print things off, but we can do it digital. So think of digital activities. This can also reduce the amount of time if you're doing things in person, because when we do things in person, it increases the carbon footprint, because we're using a lot of cars, a lot of people are driving. So think about digital activities. That leads us nicely onto hybrid working. So organizations are starting to understand how hybrid working can also reduce their carbon footprint, increase their sustainability within their business. What this means essentially is working from home more and going into the office when needed, or going into the office for the freedom to choose to do this. So a lot of coaches I know like to work in offices such as WeWork. You have shared accommodation. Maybe you want to go work in the library, or you tend to go out a lot to work in coffee shops. Try and reduce that. Try and reduce where you work, and start to work from home a little bit more. And think about your methods of transport. If you don't have a car, fantastic. If you're using public transport, that's already a good step in the right direction, that you're consciously thinking about. Carpool as well. If you work in, and where we're going to see the coaching industry go in the future, is you're going to essentially have firms of coaches, coaches coming together, collaborating, working together. So think about how you can share that experience. So hybrid working is really effective way to reduce carbon footprint. Then finally, I want to talk about environmentally friendly. Now, you might think as a coach, what products do I sell? I sell services. Well, I see a lot of coaches, Coaching Minds especially, we have it here, that sell t-shirts, merchandise that helps build and promote their brand. So when you're looking at doing something like this, I recommend you start to look at organizations that do this in a very environmentally friendly way. Now, we give hoodies to every single coach that joins our accredited program package. We also send some t-shirts to people as well. People purchase t-shirts from us. We sell t-shirts, but these are from amazing organizations. They allow us to design our own t-shirts, our own hoodies. We're in a kind of online clothes store that will help promote our brand, but it's 100% cotton. It's all about fair trade. They tell you the journey from the cotton fields right up to the point at which the hoodie or the t-shirt or the other product that you could sell through there's more to do, and how it arrives to the door. So from the cotton field to the door, the journey, how it's all about fair, how it's all about really looking after the planet when getting our products out there. So our hoodie, it's in fully recycled paper, so there's no plastic involved in it. You receive it in fully recycled paper, and it keeps that environmentally friendly feel all the way through that journey. So those are some business specific items that you can do and implement into your day-to-day, so you can reduce your carbon footprint, eco-friendly conscious in your day-to-day activities. Now imagine if all the coaches, hundreds of thousands of coaches right now, did this, minimize their printing, all had e-contracting, all had editable PDFs, all had digital activities, all thought about hybrid working and how they transport themselves around when they're doing their day-to-day business, and all had environmental. Think about how the world, the change in the impact we could make with hundreds of thousands of people. Now, if you want to learn more, you want to get more into this sort of stuff, then I recommend you start to research eco coaching. Now, eco coaching is a good area or niche within the coaching industry. It's an up and coming kind of niche within the coaching industry that will open opportunities for you to work within organizations on a one-to-one basis. I'm going to share that in just a second. But essentially, what eco coaching is, it's a practice that's focused on environmental or ecological sustainability. So how do we put a focus, how do we put our coaching practice or a niche with that environmental or ecological sustainability? In individuals, organizations, depending on how you want to work on a one-to-one basis, so look at their strategies and their goals and work closely with their sustainability departments to reduce their carbon footprint and think about kind of big statements they can make. You know, you've seen things like Lego make huge big statements that really are going to reduce the amount of plastic or the damaged plastic they use in their Lego blocks. Unilever as well, they published something that was really fantastic in terms of I can't remember exactly what they're doing, but they were up there when I was doing my research behind this. But basically, it's in guiding individuals, organizations, and adopt environmentally friendly behaviors. So just like what I'm teaching you today, how can you look, because every organization, every industry, every business is different, and businesses generally consume and have a bigger impact on our environment than individuals. So how can you start to get in there, depending on the type of businesses that you might work in as part of your coaching? But think about how you can bring eco coaching into that, work with their sustainability departments, look picture of what they do and how they can implement more sustainably, environmentally friendlier behaviors into their organization. And then also eco coaches work with clients to raise that awareness. So it's about raising awareness, showing them where it might not be eco-friendly within their businesses, their companies, set goals, develop strategies, and sustainable practices into both their personal lives and their business operations as well. And I work for a fantastic company in the water sector, Anglian Water, good on thinking ahead, thinking of the future, looking at sustainability, looking at ways in which they can educate the public on reducing water consumption, looking at ways in which they can encourage their staff and employees and their stakeholders to be more environmentally friendly. So think about organizations that maybe aren't as good at that, and there's an opportunity for you to go in there, coach, and help guide them to more better and sustainable practices. Numerous ways you can do it on a one-to-one basis. So maybe you want to coach people, you want to brand yourself as an eco coach, and you are looking at niching down in this. There's books being published on there, so just give it a Google search or go on ChatGPT, whatever you like to use, and learn a little bit more on eco coaching and how you can start to develop and look at implement it, because there's an option to integrate it into your practice and what you currently do, or become an eco coach and start to coach people on a one-to-one basis. When people come to you, you know that they're coming with you to think about how they can do more for the environment. Business coaching, as I mentioned, working with companies and organizations, thinking about how you can help them build more sustainable practices and better strategies. Education engagement, a lot of coaches do programs, a lot of coaches do webinars and workshops and things like that, center these all around eco-friendly and climate issues and how we can raise awareness, motivate people, and help hold your clients accountable. Do this, this, and this. They want to change their behaviors and habits to be more environmentally friendly, whether it's in a business or on an individual basis, to the actions they want to take. So for example, if I was looking at our coaches, we want to hold our coaches accountable here at Coaching Minds. So maybe if we see somebody that writes and printing lots of stuff off or doing something a little bit eco-friendly, we'll say, you know, this is our climate statement, this is what we want you to do. We'll hold them accountable, we'll motivate them and have that conversation so they can change their behaviors. Community engagement, how can you get involved in campaigns that are out there? There's some really great campaigns. One that I've started to explore is Save Soil with Sadhguru, Soil with Sadhguru on Google, and you will see the great work he's doing. There's worksheets there, there's lots of educational material, lots of talks. He's been traveling around the world to, I think it was over 100 countries. I don't know exactly, I can't remember the exact number, so don't quote me on that, but definitely over 100, going around and talking to leaders and politicians how we need to take action to save our soil, or we're going to really struggle as a world, as a community, as a society to grow stuff, or use that soil to grow our food and other crops. So that's something else you can get involved with. Go and have a look at other campaigns that are out there. This is just the one that's in my mind. And also look at things that you could do in terms of your local community. How can you educate and engage your community? What could you put on? What could you host? Maybe get a group of people together, go around doing things like litter picking or educating people on litter picking. Maybe going into local schools and talking to kids and teenagers on the importance of understanding eco-coaching. You know, a lot of teachers, especially in the geography sector, will be welcome and open for coaches to go and do a talk. So just reach out, engage with your community, do what you can, and start to adopt. Even if you don't want to niche down eco-coaching, which I'm not asking or teaching everybody to do today, but even if you have a niche in leadership coaching or a niche in relationship coaching, or you specialize in high performance or confidence or business in general, if you do business coaching, think about how you introduce this eco coaching into there. How do you put a little element of what we've taught today to improve your coaching practice for the benefit of our world and the benefit of our environment? And then what I'd like you to do is publish your plan. So think about the plan and the actions from everything that we've talked about today. Think about the plan, the actions that you can take, document it down, and make a pledge. Put it out there. Put your action plan. Are you going to go out and buy yourself an e-pad so you stop using 2, 3, 4 notepads every year? Are you going to move from printing off contracts into a space where you use e-signatures and e-contracting? Are you going to start to move to more digitalized activities that have PDFs? You're going to start traveling less to coffee shops and traveling less to WeWorks and office spaces and starting to work from home a little bit more. What are you going to do? What's your plan? How are you going to help the environment? Are you going to do a program on this? Are you going to do some pieces of education in your local community? Think about your plan, write it down, publish it as your pledge, and then stick to it. And help us together as a profession really make a difference towards climate change. And again, if you've liked this session, if this is the first one that you're seeing, we do these sessions every single week. To not miss a session, to catch up on all the replays, we advise that you join our hub. It's completely free at hub.coachingminds.co.uk. That's hub.coachingminds.co.uk. It's on the screen there. You can scan the QR code with your mobile if you're watching this on a desktop, so you can learn, connect, and grow. Thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to the next session that we have. Thank you, everyone. Bye.